It's fantastic to be here at Brighton Homes Arena today, and people can see the significant progress that's been made. This is going to be an amazing facility for a whole range of people, our female athletes, the literally hundreds of young Queenslanders who participate in our academy here, our elite female athletes, our members and supporters, and of course the community here at Springfield are all going to benefit from this facility. We've made the significant progress to date by raising significant funds. We've had financial support from all three levels of government, from the AFL and already from some significant private benefactors. But I'm really excited today to be able to launch the Lions Legacy Project, which is going to be an opportunity for all our members, supporters, the community to make their own financial contribution to this project to ensure that it is a state-of-the-art facility, and it's going to set a new benchmark for facilities within professional sport in Australia, not just Australian rules football, and particularly for female athletes. So the Legacy Project is launched today. It'll be launched via our website. People will be able to make donations that are tax deductible. There'll be some special categories of donations that people can make, including having your name on the fence around Michael Voss Oval, having your name on one of the seats in the grandstand that's here today, and as also having your name on one of the lockers in the change rooms, both the AFL players and the AFLW players. So it's a really exciting time to be part of the Lions. Obviously our women have been tremendously successful in the last 2 seasons. Our men are flying at the moment, going really well, and we think this stage of this project is going to make things even more exciting for Lions supporters.
Can you say your name and spell it? Something in there?
Sure, Andrew Wellington. So Andrew, A-N-D-R-E-W, Wellington, as in the boot, W-E-L-L-I-N-G-T-O-N. Chair, Brisbane Lions.
Questions for Andrew?
You talked about what this means for the club as a whole, but particularly for women's football being a standalone stadium. As far as I'm aware, the first standalone stadium built for women's football is a positive in this country. What does that mean for AFLW and the Lions?
It means a lot for those who've been involved in AFLW football since it started. There's a real mix of facilities for women as they travel around the country, and they are elite athletes, and this is going to be the first purpose-built stadium for them, but the change rooms and the facilities which you'll be able to see here are first class, and there's equal space for the women as there is for the men here.
And I guess from a high performance perspective, like this just gives the club that kind of extra competitive edge from a female and male perspective in terms of on-field performance as well.
Absolutely. So the high performance aspect of it is great for our on-field performance. It's also great for our retention. Athletes want to be in an environment where you're giving them the best chance to be successful, and so when we can create this environment out here, it's a great attribute to retain players and also attract new players, hopefully.
I think there'd be some fans sad that the club's sort of moving away from the Gabba being the home. Obviously we still play men's games here, but what does it do? What does it say about the club's movement away from the Gabba to have its own home that isn't shared with cricket, isn't somewhere else? It's your own club out here.
I think the two homes can coexist as they do now. The reality is, obviously, the female athletes spend very little time training at the Gabba as it is. The male athletes spend a lot of time training away from the Gabba already. So I think this will give us the best of both worlds. Got a fantastic stadium at the Gabba for the men to play their games in, and we'll have a genuine home here where we can become part of this community and people can come here and share this facility with us.
Was that part of the whole idea of moving it out here to grow the community involved in Lions football?
Certainly, yes. Wherever we moved, we want to be part of the community. That's really important to us, and I think it's a really important aspect of the facility being successful. So it is important that there's a growing, vibrant community here that we can grow with.
It took time to get it, like there's no denying that, but with an election coming up and things like that, like to get that kind of cohesion between state, federal, local, it did take time, but to finally get there, what did it mean to the club to get that part of the deal over the line? And now see it kind of in fruition.
It was really significant for the club, and we're grateful to all three levels of government for the support that they've provided. I think it was important that we found the right place for the project, we found the right style of project, and the fact that, as we discussed earlier, that we can create something that's really at the moment quite unique for female athletes is also special, and I'm sure that was an important part of us obtaining government support.
Do you feel like you're setting the benchmark across the country now for what female athletes should have access to in terms of performance facilities, everything like that?
Absolutely. We think this will be a benchmark not just within Australian rules football but across females professional sport, full stop.
I guess 2032, I know there's lots of discussions kind of starting and it's very far away, but what is the preference from the club in terms of the Gabba and its redevelopment and the kind of role this facility might play? It definitely is not looking like it would be able to host home and away games, it's just not big enough, or what's the latest there?
We haven't ruled out that it could host home and away games. That's certainly a possibility, but we're considering some other options as well. What we are looking at is what's important to us in that alternative facility, and what will be important will be that we find a place that we can be relatively stable at during that period, because we don't want to lose a home ground advantage. We want to find a facility that will enable us to stay connected with our members and supporters. 3 years is a long time if that's the construction period, to lose that connection. So it's important that wherever we go, we can maintain that connection. And obviously then there's financial considerations as well.
How much do the Lions have kind of input in these discussions? I know that they're very early in the piece, but you guys have got a pretty important seat at the table when it comes to Gabba.
Yeah, and we feel we have that at the moment. So we are involved in discussions now around what those alternatives might look like.
So would Metricon be essentially the front runner, being the largest round stadium in Queensland?
I'm not sure that anything is the front runner at the moment. I suppose Metricon, by virtue of the fact it already exists and holds AFL games, is certainly in the mix.
And just on the venue, I understand there's a chance it might be in 2032 a part of something. Is that like there could be things hosted at this venue potentially, and utilising the kind of boutique stadium aspect of it?
Yeah, there was initially, as part of the bid, I think this was scheduled as the modern pentathlon site. I'm not sure how much certainty there is now as to whether the modern pentathlon in its current form will be in the 2032 games. So I think there's still a bit of water to flow under the bridge there. But certainly when you're hosting an Olympic Games and there's so many events to host, having a boutique stadium like this has to be an asset.
There's still a bit to figure out with the upcoming women's season, obviously, but if you're hopeful of playing games in October, does that mean you're hopeful of playing home games here in the next season?
It would be, at this stage, it's likely that we could play games here at the end of the AFLW season, but perhaps not at the beginning if it was to start in August.
Some would say this is rugby league heartland, Ipswich, Springfield, this sort of Western Brisbane. What does it say about the growth of Aussie rules in this state, that the Lions are encroaching on what people would consider rugby league heartland?
There's been a lot of talk about the fact that we're coming into what's seen as rugby league heartland. We're not focused on that at all. We're focused on the fact that we've got a really good product. Our code, people enjoy it. We think Springfield's a great place for us to be based. We think people will really embrace the AFLW games that are played here, and we think it'll be a good product and be successful. But it wasn't as though we picked a spot that we thought we'd come and challenge rugby league in their home territory.
What part of the facility are you most looking forward to kind of seeing once it's all done?
Wow. Yeah, look, the whole thing, I think. Clearly, this is quite a special area in here, this indoor kicking area. But I just think seeing the whole thing come together, particularly the way it's designed, where there's some clear interaction spaces between the staff and the football department, something that's a bit tricky at the moment with the Gabba, with a lot of people being upstairs and then the staff being down the basement, and of course AFLW often being at Yeronga. So for me, the most exciting opportunity is the way our club will be able to come together in one place.
I know we talked about the women having a training base, and but the men range one week, Cooper the next, Yeronga the next. Like, do you think that will just help? They come out here every week, just questions asked as to their training days?
Oh, absolutely. At the moment, the men's days they may be training at Yeronga, but then they may have to do their gym at the Gabba. They may have to do their rehab somewhere else, whereas it's all going to be here. They'll be able to come and spend their day here. There'll be areas where they can rest and do some recreation as well, but they're going to be able to do all of those things in the one spot, which will be fantastic for them. So the men, we talk a lot about how excited the women are, but the men are really excited about having the home here as well.
There's been a lot of talk about AFL expansion to Tasmania. Are the Lions supportive of another round of expansion? I know the last one was particularly tough for Queensland, for the Lions being the only team in Queensland. The club supportive of extra teams, 1 or 2?
We're open-minded at the moment about examining the opportunity for expansion, and I think given that we're an expansion club ourselves, it would be disingenuous to not consider the merits of an expansion club. But like many others, we do want to make sure that we properly understand what the implications are for the financial strength of the league, and make sure that there's visibility over the viability of whichever club or whatever club in its whatever form is established in a new market.
Jake says September, so everything's tracking like the women and everyone can move in potentially right as the main season finishes.
Yeah, construction's tracking really well at the moment. Interior spaces are nearly ready for flooring to go down, so they've been internally painted and the structures are all enclosed. Wet weather a little bit this year with some flood events and whatnot hasn't impacted us from a flooding perspective, but certainly just makes getting the external landscaping and the turf a bit slower. At the moment, we'll have the turf down and ready to go in October.
What is it that gives, I know you like what specifically is going to give this kind of facility the competitive edge over all other AFL clubs and other platforms?
One of the advantages of moving out to a new site, a greenfield site, is that you can construct from, sorry, I'll just try that again. I had COVID last week, so yeah. One of the advantages of constructing on a greenfield site is that we're not encumbered in building our facility in the right spaces, in the right places, and dealing with past construction. So what that means for us is we've got benchmark recovery facilities. We've been able to make sure that the football department's ideally designed so that the indoor field, that the outdoor field are all sitting with the football department in the middle, and that all of the extra 1%ers that we can integrate into the facility are in the construction phase. So we've got really great IT throughout this facility. We've got training cameras mounted in the roof of this building that'll enable our coaches to get the best vision that they can use to educate the players. We've got the second after the AIS in Canberra, we've got one of the best wet recovery setups in the country. We have one of the best dry recovery setups as well. And we've got a floor plan that enables our women and our men to share all those facilities equally, and with the standard of facilities that's equal across both genders.
You guys are already known for having the best kind of physios and facilities and people are least healthy, but like should be no injuries per se with all the kind of access they'll have to with high-tech stuff out here.
Our football department's really excited because part of attracting and retaining the best staff at the Brisbane Lions in an equalised competition is being able to give those staff all of the equipment and infrastructure, IT and physical gym equipment to enable them to maximise what they do with the players. So making sure that the next Nat Grider is to the same standard of playing professionalism and has the right training environment to make sure that we've got academy athletes that are graduating out of academy and are ready to play football from the day that they arrive here.